Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're bringing you a different video than we had planned. This was not on our agenda for today, but we woke up to pretty much a prepper's nightmare.
Our freezer went out full of meat. We weren't aware that it was out. We have 4 freezers. We could have moved stuff to the other freezer had we been aware. Can't speak today. But what we ended up doing is throwing most of the stuff away. We were able to salvage, I think, about 35 pounds of deer and elk meat that we were going to can anyways or grind into hamburger. So we're going to show you how to can some meat. We'll bring you along for the ride, so buckle up. This meat has already been washed. Normally I don't wash meat, but when I put it away, it was to be ground and stuff anyway, so I didn't wash it before I put it away, and so I just washed it to get any of the junk off it that happens when you have your own meat. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this up into chunks.
About 1-inch chunks.
Yeah, let me show you these knives I like. This is the Outdoor Edge, and this has the 5-inch boning blade on it. And I like these because they're super sharp. You just replace the blade when it's done, and it's awesome. You can use these as to clean your animals and things like that too. We use these instead of just your regular kitchen knives, just because it's sharper. Dealing with meat, you want to make sure you have a sharp knife for clean edges. So we're gonna get started cleaning that up. I'm gonna grab them. So when you're doing this, any piece of meat that you don't like, if it looks a little weird or whatever, just trim it off and put it in your scrap pile. So basically we're cutting it into stew chunks, and it's gonna be like deer stew meat, but we use that for everything. I'll put it in the crock pot, pressure cooker or whatever, and make it into shredded beef or whatever. I mean, obviously it's not beef, but we'll just make it so we can shred it, put it in for burritos, tacos, that kind of stuff. We'll also use it for besides stew. Anything that you would use beef for, you can use the canned meat, and it's actually a lot. You can cut your cook time down because it's cooked and it's pretty much tenderized by pressure cooking it. So this pressure canning allows us to eat a tougher cut of meat or something like that we normally would grind into hamburger. But yeah, that's what we've used. Okay, so this stuff here on this side, the silver stuff, is called silver skin. Just a membrane, and you can eat it. It's just chewy. So that's what we're working on when we're cutting it up, is cleaning up this stuff. Normally stew meat, you don't really care that much, but the excessive stuff we're gonna go ahead and clean off. All right, so we got this finely cubed up. We're gonna get ready to bottle it here in a second. We're just gonna clean up some stuff real quick first.
Okay, so now that we have this dish cut up and ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and get my jars out and start filling those. Now, I looked up guidelines. When it comes to canning, I personally don't feel comfortable with Rebel canning, and so I look up tried and true approved recipes for the United States. And so this is an approved guideline recipe, whatever you want to call it. It's for meat strips, cubes, or chunks. And you can do this for bear, beef, lamb, pork, veal, and venison are all listed. And so the type of packing that we're going to do is called raw pack, meaning we are not pre-cooking the meat that is going in the bottles. We're going to be pressure canning this because pressure canning is the only safe way to bottle meat. I have both our electric pressure canner out and our manual pressure canner, just because of the quantity that we're going to be doing. We're going to go ahead and get these bottled up. We pre-washed our bottles. The guidelines have changed that you no longer have to sanitize the bottles. They just need to be clean, because they ran tests and figured out that the amount of time that you're actually processing them sterilizes them. So we have clean bottles, clean jars that we kept in the oven with the oven off. So they're going to not be hot because what we're packing in it is not hot. And the directions say to leave 1 inch of head space, which is the amount of space that you leave at the top. We're going to process, we're doing it in quarts. We're going to be processing those for 90 minutes. And the difference with pressure canning over water bath canning is not only the temperature, but you also have to pay attention to the pounds of pressure that you use in pressure canning. It's based on your altitude. So at my altitude, I need to be at 13 pounds, which the electric pressure canner does it on its own. The manual one, I'm going to have to read the gauge and get it up to 13 and hold at 13. If it drops below 13 pounds, we have to start our time over. It's really important that you keep it at the right pressure for the amount of time that it calls for in order to have your finished product be safe. So we're going to go ahead and get started on packing the bottles, and we'll get the first batch going in one of the canners while we continue processing more meat. Okay, so we've got our wide mouth quarts out. The reason that I like to do wide mouth for meat is because it's easier to get in here and scrub to clean it. Just a simple reason, but it makes cleanup so much easier. Because with meat, beans are the same way. You tend to get gunk inside your jar that you can't rinse out. So you need to get your hand in there and actually scrub it. So wide mouth makes that easier. So this is canning and pickling salt, as you can read on the label. You can't use iodized salt when canning. You can use canning and pickling salt, or
This is Celtic gray salt, which if you have high blood pressure. So we're going to actually try a couple of them with this just to see. I like the flavor of it anyways, but it's super expensive. It's like $20 for this bag. We don't want to use the whole bag on it just for economic reasons.
So we have both canners loaded up. Electric canner is nice because I just set it for the amount of time, tell it to start. It'll beep at me to advance it through the cycles. Now this, can you see that we've got a steady stream and we need to let that vent for 10 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, we're going to put this on and we'll start watching this climb. When it gets up to 13 pounds, then we will set our timer for 90 minutes. We will adjust the heat to keep it at the right Roth rate. Then we will come back probably tomorrow because I'll just leave this so that they will naturally depressurize and cool. And then we'll take them out in the morning. So we let these cool all night and now we're ready to take the jars out. Let me show you what we ended up with. Okay, you can see that we have 5 regular mouth jars in the Presto electric pressure canner, and we have 7 in the regular manual pressure canner. These are wide mouth. Let me go ahead and take them out. All the jars seem to have sealed. We did have some siphoning on a few of them. That happens sometimes, even to the best of us. These are going to go ahead and continue cooling completely. Then I will wash the outside, take the rings off, and move them down into long-term storage. So I wanted to thank you for joining us as we turned lemons into lemonade. Things happen in life, and the only reason that we were able to so quickly act on this and take care of it because we had the equipment that we've amassed over the years, and we had the knowledge of how to do this. It takes time and effort. This could have been a tragedy. This could have been a massive issue. We've seen times where people didn't realize that their freezer had gone out, discover it when it's too late, and they've lost everything that they had in their freezer. And that really, if you had just stocked up on meat or you bought a quarter of a cow, half a cow, pig, whatever, that could be a huge financial investment wasted. So having the equipment and the knowledge to be able to do this is key. So I encourage you to keep learning every day. When things like this happen, turn it into lemonade. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.